During this when we were camping too was so if my faith in humanity isn't ill placed and trickle down effects happen for everybody, and like the fact that we have this technology, eventually all the health resources will kind of hopefully keep trickling down. Hopefully we keep lifting people up more than we're creating a divide. But anyways, you know what? So say someone sees living a human life as for the pursuit of developing consciousness, and it's an constantly evolving thing, and there's no end goal to it, and the journey through being a human is the evolution of consciousness. Yeah. And you just get as far as you get before you die.
Yeah.
And so, but what if, someone was willing and interested in doing it for the sake of, like, what would a 150-year-old person be like? What would you be like? What would a 200-person-year-old, like, that 200-year-old person would have a completely different set of priorities and ways of thinking, like, because you change every decade.
Yeah, exactly.
Significantly. So
I remember in my 130s when this was the thing.
Oh, you think you're growing up at 130, but 140 comes and you really wake up.
Yeah, you really wake up and you decide, I can't drive a standard car anymore. I'm going to drive an automatic. I'm just not great on the hills. Yeah. I couldn't, so I discussed chatting with someone at work who had maybe a mother or grandmother who had lived to 102, and up into 92 or 93, spry, perfect, lived on their own. Then I think they had fallen, and then they decided they should go into like assisted living. And the first 90 years of their life is exactly how they want you to remember that person, because after that, everything just swooped down and fell off, right? So, do you live to 150 and the last 25 years of your life are hell, right? Or and also, who do we want living to be like 150?
Well, the thing that pops into my head is I look at Joe Rogan. He's 50-something.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's in his 20s or 30s still.
Yeah. He's
going to be 150, that guy.
He will, I think, and I don't know too much about this guy, but I just know, like, in a periphery is Aubrey Marcus. Similar thing, like, just always, like, kind of expanding. And even, like, to an extent, Tim Ferriss. I really, like, I people are always like, I'm going to hack this and hack that. Like, cool, no, go ahead and hack your with your bulletproof coffee and stuff, but there are things that are proven over time that really do work to improve the quality of your day-to-day life, and then that improves the quality of your week-to-week, month-to-month, year-to-year life over time. So it's just about making these small shifts to improve your quality of life. But then you have someone like Joe Rogan who does have the resources though to take that even further.
Yeah. I just wonder what's going to be possible. Like, we really live in a really crazy time.
Yeah. How does AI make you feel?
Man, that's it makes me feel nervous.
It makes me feel really nervous.
It's such a fucking... Well, that's the other thing about the situation we're in right now, is there's so many wild card things going on in the mix. Like, a friend of mine was talking to me, I didn't look into it myself, but he told me that one of the volcanoes in Yosemite National Park erupted.
Oh, no way. Wow, I had no clue.
If the big one erupts, it's literally game over. Like, it's a game over volcano.
Yeah. Doesn't it make you feel so insignificant, but I find it makes me feel insignificant, but in a good way. Like, I'm just like, oh, I have no control over that.
Well, yeah.
So,
it's,
okay.
It makes me feel... It's humbling, and it puts you in your place. Because it's like, part of us being able to do anything requires there to be a universe with all the crazy things that the universe is doing.
We need to exist,
we need a sun, we need a bunch of planets, galaxies, water, all those minerals and nutrients.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
need that guy.
Yeah.
And so the planet, and then get down to the planet itself, and the environments on the planet, and then the civilizations of the people, and then like but as far as the planet's concerned, you need a certain amount of cooperation.
Yeah. And
it's not guaranteed. Like, listening to Graham Hancock talk about all the meteorites that are out there. Like, a few years ago, one flew by. It would have been like a mass extinction-sized meteor. It flew by Earth as close as the moon is to Earth. Yeah. And so you think about that in the terms of the size of space, and that's like just being grazed by a bullet.
Just a rock, and the rock. So, like, do you think that maybe with things like AI might be able to, so say if the world does go to a more, if it goes to shit, that maybe something like AI will be able to just sustain and live in like the conditions that humans can't find bearable, but artificial intelligence can maybe, nano-transform and build themselves in a way that they're like, oh, we don't need any water anymore, we're cool, like I just hit this button, we're good.
Well, I wonder, like if, well, this is another thing I think about, is, so if what is going on here, which is a question I love Terence McKenna saying, I love the way he just says, what is going on here? And because that's a damn good question. But if the whole idea is, one option is that the consciousness is the whole thing. That's the thing. And we were laughing at the camping trip I'm referencing, where all the animals were singing in their own way, and we were just kind of making a joke as if it was a show, and who was the main act. And Glenn was with us again. He looked at me and said, well, we are. And we got the fire and the conversation and everything. And I was just like, started laughing because we were just laying on the ground not doing anything. I was like, we're putting on a shit show for the main act. Exactly. But then I got a little, perhaps what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever. I lost it.
Like into it or deep into it, or
no? It sounded a little. Oh my god. Altruistic or something, but I started just thinking about like, what if, in terms of what's ever happened in the universe, human consciousness is the main event? Like, that is. It's not that any other form is less significant, but it's just increasing in complexity and profundity in some way.
Well, we only know of our own human experience, right? So maybe, you look and you see a duck, and the duck has their own term of, experience and what's important to them. But like I went to that Ram Dass retreat, and we discussed that there's like, here we are, and then here we are, and then here we all are. And, one of the it's not a goal of meditation, but a lot of people go deep into a meditation practice. It's not about the little I, it's about the collective consciousness, connection to the big I, all of us. And then there's we're like kind of all one. So it's like seeing each other as souls, and then we are all souls and beings and stuff. So, and stuff. Just like, we're all souls and beings and stuff. Yeah, that's whatever. But it, what is it like? We are a physical package having a conscious experience, and we can only do as best as we can in like this skin, this meat body, as like Joe Rogan would maybe say. I'm trying to think where I'm going with this, but ultimately it comes to that recognition of just seeing that we're just all completely connected. And how do you look at that? Like, is it in the microscope? Is it this big? Like, because you can look at the Earth from the space, and space is and the Earth is one organism, and then you can dive right down and see like a single-celled organism like yeast, and that's an organism. So, I think we have such blinders on that we only see our own like human experience, and that's it, as opposed to the bigger picture, which is that this is all connected. We're all related in our own ways, and perhaps we just don't. We have the inkling that this is the way it is, but our modern day science hasn't proven it, right? And it's like,
well, it just can't. It can't even say anything about consciousness at all, unfortunately.
No. But that's the thing too. Is like you look at like Western medicine, and it's like that's been going on for thousands of years. For example, like Ayurveda. And then now, here in North America, now we just apply our labels and our terms to it to make it make sense. Oh, well, the reason why the person's feeling this way is that their tongue has this bacteria on it. Whereas in India, they'd say, oh, it's a hot tongue or whatever, and that's what it is, right? So these things have been happening for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to define it in our own picture perfect box that we can swallow and make sense of. So
yeah. So I hope that all of it is for the sake of certain information is worth carrying on with and writing down. And I was thinking about, because I was watching this documentary on the Vikings with James earlier, and they were just carving their story into a rock. I was like, how careful with your words would you be if you had to chisel every single letter?
Exactly. It's like, listen, we don't need any adverbs here. We're good.
No, you're getting right to the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's being, it's one of the 4 agreements, be impeccable with your word.
Yeah, for sure.
They were likely practicing that without even realizing it.
Well, you just have to.
We only have so many slates. Get right to the point.
Yeah, exactly. If you make one spelling mistake,
exactly. So help me God, you're going to be sent out to sea and lit on fire.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God.
The Viking send off.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing to be grateful for is how not violent a place like Canada or America is compared to the rate at which violence would occur before modern day civilization. Yeah. It's been a steady decline. And
it was almost it was territorial, but using violence as opposed to now using municipal boundaries and voting.
And talking. And all that. But, and you see what happens immediately when people fail to be able to talk. Like the violence at the Trump rallies say. And it just digresses into violence. When conversation seems to fail, it escalates to that point.
Because I don't even know if they have the language or the thought process to even, or even the ability to process how they're feeling. I think that so many people have been told how to feel a certain way that they don't even know why. It's just almost a knee-jerk reaction. So when I see some of the for example, again, Trump stuff, and then this spewing hate that comes out of it, I don't even think they know what they're doing or saying. It's just something that is this reactionary, well, my mom did this and her mom did this and her mom did this, so this is how it is, without any of the thought behind it.
Well, however a person and this is sheer shit luck or not, it's how someone spends their first 4 or 5 years will leave. It's gonna send you in a direction, even some experiences from that early on. And if you're just surrounded by people who are all thinking in a certain manner, I mean, occasionally people will, for one reason or another, kind of question things more deeply for themselves and not be satisfied with whatever they're receiving. But that the momentum of tradition can just take people right.
Well, the first 12 years of your life equates to 75% of development of your personality and who you are. So in the first 12 years of your life, you've had a bit of a traumatic spell, then that's a really challenging thing to shake and let go of over time. Actually, my friend Ryan and I were chatting on the weekend, and he was saying about some of the challenges with traditions. This is a thing that you do all the time, but it's not really serving you maybe anymore. But there's a comfort in tradition. So maybe a lot of these folks feel comfort in their actions, and not maybe seeing the malintent behind them. They're just well, I'm going to do this because this is all I've ever known, was to treat people with hate or put them down.
Or treat the person of that political party with hate or something.
Exactly, right? So, there's some quotes really hang on with me for a while, and there was something that I read a while ago and it came up again, but it was just about when you are hurt, see the person who has hurt you as maybe a child and not knowing what they've done.
I think you wrote about that on
just recently. It just came up again, and sometimes when I'm really shaking my head at the world, all I can try to see is that person or party or company or whatever really not knowing what they're doing. It doesn't, excuse them for their actions.
No, for sure.
But just like, there's a saying like everyone is doing the best they can from their current state of consciousness. So that kind